My Hero Academy. Have you seen this anime? If you've been watching, I want to tell you 15 of the strongest qualities of heroes along with their weaknesses. Stay with Daniel until the end in ShiSho anime. My Hero Academia is back for its 6th season, and fans have already dived right into the first few action-packed episodes. Many are excited about what's in store. The battle between heroes and villains has escalated into an all-out war, and both sides are coming out with guns blazing, metaphorically. Many heroes and villains' quirks will be put to maximum use in the upcoming battles. The fights are only going to get tougher from here on out. As the season progresses, it's important to take note of some powerful quirks that will be displayed and their weaknesses that their enemies might exploit. 15. Explosion. Takes a heavy toll on the user's body. Bakugo's explosion quirk is powerful, just the kind of flashy power that is fit for a pro. However, even this strong quirk has serious flaws. The first weakness is that while Bakugo can easily fire off one explosion after another, it takes a while for him to store up enough nitroglycerin for more powerful blasts. Secondly, the more powerful the blast, the more damage it will incur on the user's body. Bakugo can't use too many huge blasts in quick succession, so he built some braces on his hero costume to control that power and prevent his arms from breaking in combat. 14. Hellflame. Makes its user overheat. Hellflame is wielded by Indoa, the best of the current pro heroes. This quirk is very powerful and very destructive. Hellflame lets Indoa perform remarkable feats like flying through the air, forging weapons of fire, and moving at blinding speeds. Indoa can withstand the heat for a while because he has resistance to extremely hot temperatures. However, Endeavor can only fight for so long before he starts to overheat. The extreme temperature of Hellflame prevents Endeavor from going all out for too long. So, Indoa sought a wife whose ice-based quirk could regulate the temperature of his air, as shown in Shoto Todoroki's half-cold half-hot quirk. 13. Reflection. Has a limit of how much power it can take. The ability to reflect any kind of attack thrown at someone is bound to cause problems every time. This has been the case in nearly every anime that has featured such a power. Flect Turn wields this ability in My Hero Academia, and he came very close to destroying Deku with it. This power is truly astounding, but the number of attacks it can withstand is limited. Deku realized this and kept unleashing one attack after another. With the right amount of power and a lot of persistence, the reflection quirk can be overcome. 12. Permeation. Takes extreme training to master. The UA student Mirio Togata is a total powerhouse, but it took extensive training for Mirio to become so effective in combat. At first, his Permation Quirk was difficult to control, and Mirio tended to phase through things improperly and get stuck. Worse yet, Mirio cannot perceive anything while intangible, such as sight and sound. He is both blind and deaf while using Permeation, so he must use intuition and careful planning to find his opponent and attack them. Now Mirio has mastered his quirk, transforming it from an awkward and messy ability into one of the strongest quirks in My Hero Academia. 11. Electrification. Fries its user's brain. Denki Kaminari has proven to be a great help many times with his Electrification quirk, which ranks among MHA's strongest quirks of all. With powers like his, he has the potential to be one of the greatest heroes of all time. He can communicate with his electricity, zap opponents, and even juice up batteries if he wishes. The quirk's major problem is that it fries Denki's brain anytime he uses too much power at once. He becomes a goofy, unfocused version of himself, giving the thumbs up, making him a total liability in battle when that happens. Fortunately, he can now use support items to focus his power to greater effect. 10. Brainwash. Can easily be undone. One of many people's dreams is the power to command people to do anything. Hitoshi Shinso is already living the dream, as he can brainwash people into following his every command. The major drawback is that Shinso can only take control of someone when they verbally respond to something he says. While it's still very easy for unsuspecting targets to fall for it, people who know how his power works can simply remain silent. What is more, this quirk can be undone easily if the victim is interrupted by an external force, even by something as simple as a tap on the shoulder. 9. Copy. Limited use of borrowed quirks. Nito Manama of Class 1B can pose a real problem with his ability to copy almost any quirk. However, there are quite a few drawbacks to this otherwise impressive power. Nito can't gain as much mastery over a quirk as the original user if he just copies it for the first time. Nito also must direct physical contact with his target, and cannot effectively copy quirks with an accumulation attribute, like One for All. Also, while he can copy more than one quirk, Nito can't use them simultaneously and has to actively switch from one to another. 8. Rewind. Risky to use. Eri's power has several practical applications and has the potential for great good and great disasters. Eri can undo practically anything, even a human's entire existence. She can undo quirks, including the very strongest quirks, an ability that Overhaul tried to exploit for his own gain. This power can be used to solve a lot of problems, but if the user is as unstable as Eri, the consequences of a mishap could be staggering. Eri is under intensive care to make sure that she always has her power under control before she does irreparable damage. 7. Erasure. Nullified by blinking. Aizawa's Erasure quirk can render even the strongest quirks powerless. All he has to do is look at his target, and their quirk will be inaccessible to them. There are two major problems with this awesome power, though. To begin with, Erasure gives Aizawa serious dry eye, forcing him to blink, which deactivates his power. Secondly, he is unable to erase heteromorphic type quirks. This means his power is useless against opponents whose bodies have been permanently altered by their quirk, such as Spinner and Suiwasu. 6. One for All. Overloads unprepared users. One for All is a truly phenomenal power. It's so powerful that whoever wields this legendary quirk has to be physically prepared to handle its sheer energy. When used carelessly, this hurricane of force leaves the user with severe injuries, like smashed extremities. The user has to be in top physical form, otherwise, the backlash of using One for All will be deadly. Deku has had first-hand experience with this power, and he knows all too well what can happen to him if he's careless. He can only use small amounts of the power at a time, but using support items do help. 5. All for One. Requires physical touch with hands. The quirk called All for One is one of the oldest and most effective quirks to ever appear in My Hero Academia. Its user, also calling himself All for One, can steal other people's quirks and collect them. He can also give other people some quirks from his collection, such as when he gave one to Lady Nagant. All for One is enormously powerful, effectively being many quirks in one. Aside from being unable to steal One for One's only real flaw is the fact that its user must touch someone barehanded to obtain their quirk. This means All for One cannot send his minions to simply go steal the most interesting and strongest quirks for him. He must do it personally. 4. Creation. Cannot make organic materials and requires detailed knowledge. The gifted girl Momo has one of My Hero Academia's most flexible quirks, known simply as Creation. With it, Momo can use up the lipids in her body to generate an item from her bare skin, such as a working amplifier, tracking devices, gas masks, and night vision goggles. However, Momo's quirk cannot make organic things such as leather, which prevents her from making certain items. Momo must also know the detailed inner workings and material composition of an item before making it, but fortunately, her formidable intelligence largely negates that flaw. 3. New Order. Only 2 rules at once. The number 1 American pro hero, Star and Stripe, has one of the most powerful quirks in the entire world, New Order. While Star and Stripe is a powerful melee fighter on her own, she is nigh unbeatable with the use of New Order, which can greatly alter how the people and items around her behave. Star can verbally declare a new rule for a specified target, and it will take effect. With this incredible quirk, Star can reshape reality itself, but she can only have up to 2 items or people under her quirk's control at a time. And if she doesn't know her target's true name, she cannot affect it. 2. Half cold half hot. Requires careful temperature regulation. ShiSho Todoroki bears one of the strongest quirks in MHA, since it's really 2 quirks in one. By design, ShiSho inherited his mother's icy powers and his father's fire-based talents. Also, these elements can balance each other and not overload ShiSho's body with extreme heat or frostbite. In theory, this is the ultimate quirk, but balancing these 2 temperature extremes is a formidable challenge. ShiSho is getting the hang of it, but even so, he is a long way from using his fire half's full power because the heat might overwhelm him. 1. Fierce Wings. Vulnerable to fire damage. The new number 2 pro hero, the youthful Hawks, is likely modeled on the character Angel from the X-Men comics. Like Angel, Hawks sports a pair of feathery wings on his back, allowing him to fly with extreme speed and grace. He can also use his sharp feathers remotely to move items around or attack his enemies. Fierce Wings has a limited supply of feathers, though, so it's possible for Fierce Wings to be overtaxed. Worst of all, Hawk's quirk was badly damaged when Dabitoya Todoroki blasted him with fire, doing irreversible damage that has permanently restricted Hawk's combat prowess. Thank you for being with me so far in the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe.